right now for this beauty that is just happening here in this moment with all of you. So it's not the Jen show, although sometimes I like to make it the Jen show. So the theme, there we go. The theme for 2024 is it's a grand rising, like grand. The theme for December is sticking the landing, which I was told has to do with gymnastics when they land, like Simone Biles, right? Like bam, and there you are. Our topic for today is standing on solid air. So Ernest Holmes wrote, there is a presence pervading all, an intelligence running through all, a power sustaining all, binding all into one perfect whole. The realization of this presence, intelligence, power, and unity constitutes the nature of the mystic Christ, the indwelling spirit. Everyone is a potential Christ. Another quote from Holmes, we are all broadcasting stations. Our thoughts, feelings, emotions, our faiths and fears, tending to make an imprint on our environment. We are also receiving sets. Let us learn to broadcast only the kind of messages that we wish to have return. So let's affirm together. I stand on solid thoughts to co-direct the flow of my life. All right, and now, much ado to, I don't know what I'm saying. This is Reverend Kathleen, and she is here to take over, thank goodness.
Did somebody maybe pick up some papers and maybe my Sunday message when they left? It's in something like this.
Laminated?
There it is.
Sorry.
I have it. I love those two quotes by Ernest Holmes. He has so many. I particularly love the one about the broadcasting station. Such a great reminder of the invisible nature of our thoughts, and yet the power. And so that idea of sticking the landing applied to our lives is a very powerful metaphor. You know, when you think of Simone Biles spinning through the air to amazing heights, I forget how far up in the air she was spinning and turning and then landing. Solid. They call it sticking the landing. Stick the landing, to stick the landing. And so we can take flight in the field of all possibilities in the mind of God, that invisible realm. And the idea is we can stick the landing by landing and firm on things that seem air-like, which are solid foundational beliefs that are taught in Science of Mind, and they're universal beliefs that run through all the world religions. It's just Ernest Holmes had a way of articulating it that that I particularly have enjoyed all of these years. So we're continuing on, completing the year with December with this idea of a grand rising in consciousness. All year long, we've been exploring ways of letting go of the wayward patterns of fear and doubt, such that we can reveal who we are in truth, who we already are in truth, the perfect, whole, complete beings of spirit. And also what I love this term, possibilitarians. We can stick our landing on possibilitarianism, right? Living in the field of all possibilities, realizing there is so much more to us than we could even imagine, and so many possibilities and solutions and so on available to us. So this December, we'll use air, fire, water, earth, and light, and the flow of consciousness to wrap up our 2024 season and prepare for 2025. Sound good?
Yeah.
All right. So today it's all about air, standing on solid air. And the quantum physicist tells us that things are not as solid as they seem. At the quantum level, it's just a bunch of energy, and energy that takes form according to thought and idea. And so it has this very, we could call it air-like quality because we can't see it with the naked eye. And so as we stick the landing on the solid air of thought based on foundational beliefs, we're going to be drawing these foundational beliefs from what Ernest Holmes called What We Believe, and it was in the very first edition of the Science of Mind magazine back in 1927. So it's been around a long time, and they still publish it in the current Science of Mind magazines. Would you just kind of raise that up underneath there for everybody so they can see what the magazine looks like? It's on sale in our bookstore, and they have 2 months in one edition. So when you turn it over, so it has, I think, November on one side and December on the other. Yeah, so they have 2. Thank you, Kelly. Good job. So the first foundational belief, I bet you know this. If you've been around here for a while, you're going to know what it is. It's all about the one presence and the one power. Ernest Holmes says, we believe in God, the living spirit almighty, one indestructible, absolute, and self-existent cause, meaning it exists of itself. There's not anything else that created it. And what we call this one life is not important. People call it all kinds of different things in different cultures and languages. So whatever works for you, I encourage you to use. If God doesn't work for you, use another term, universal intelligence, spirit, love, whatever works. The important thing is that there is only one showing up in a multitude of ways. And so no matter what the appearances are around us, we are never separated from that one, which is, and I love this imagery, is closer than the breath and nearer than the neck vein. So as we notice our fears and feelings of separation, let us return to and rise in thought of the one presence, the one power, and the one life that we are emanations of, that we are inseparable from. Holmes says this one manifests itself in, through, and as all creation, but is not absorbed by its creation. So it reminds us that creation is an aspect of this one, and that this presence is more than that, because it's the infinite invisible field of all possibilities, our universal mind. And how do we learn about this presence, the nature of this presence? Through creation, through observing creation. As we observe creation, we see the effects. Just as we see the effects of wind, we can't see the wind, but we can see the effects of the wind. So there we go. There's that air-like nature of the infinite invisible presence. The second foundational belief is God incarnates, takes form as all people. So the soul within us is ever expanding. We are told by the great Master Jesus that the kingdom of heaven is within. It's there already. We don't have to put it there. We don't have to go somewhere to seek it and put it there. It's already there. The kingdom of heaven is within us. And the kingdom of heaven is a state of consciousness, of unity, of oneness, so beautifully demonstrated by not only Jesus, but other spiritual masters and other spiritual traditions. And Ernest Holmes says, it's available to us to the degree that we become aware of it. And the ultimate goal of life is freedom from discord, which is surely to be attained by all. So we are divine beingness, hanging out in these bodies for this period of time. And we are therefore God being God as ourselves. So I'd like you to nudge your neighbor and say, you are God being God as yourself. All right, that's the second foundational belief. The third foundational belief is, and this is how Ernest Holmes puts it, all of us can be revealers of truth by living in close contact with this divinity. So while we have thoughts and beliefs that often we are unconscious of their impact, these thoughts and beliefs that flow through us and as us direct the energy of the universe and bring it into form and experience. So the idea here is to become aware of what it is that we're creating, and we can tell that just by what's going on in our lives. It's a reflection. There's no judgment. It's a reflection. If there's something we like to shift and change, then the way to do that, Ernest Holmes is very clear on that, is to consciously direct the flow of creation by meditating on the nature of God. Meditating on the nature of God. You know, books like Living the Science of Mind and Science of Mind that are by Ernest Holmes, and he has many other publications that are so wonderful. These publications are an opportunity to study these beautiful words, to contemplate them, take them into meditation. In the back of the Science of Mind textbook, there's a whole series of meditations, very short sentences to contemplate and take into meditation. As we do that, we firm and strengthen our bond and our sense of connection with the one. It's not that we can ever be separated, but it brings our awareness to that connection and opens the floodgates for what Ernest Holmes calls the divine influx, inspiration, inspired ideas, so that we live our lives from that place and point of inspiration. As a result of this, we believe in the healing of the sick and the shifting of conditions through the power of this mind, which flows through us and as us. Again, some words of Ernest Holmes. So I'd like to illustrate this with a story. This is a beautiful story about someone at Goodwill who received an inspiration. And I love this idea of a broadcast is going on. So there's a broadcast going on in Divine Mind, a field of all possibilities, and we can tune into and connect to them. So someone at Goodwill received an inspiration to provide more than just job training for people, but education, getting a high school education. And then to take it a step further, this is for adults who never finished high school. In addition to that, they could come and receive certificates in various types of industries, the healthcare industry, the education industry, and so on. So one particular Excel, they called it the Excel Center, and this particular Excel Center did so well that they started spreading all over the country. And here are some of the qualities of this school. They're charter high schools, so they're paid for by the states. They have flexible schedules because many of the adults are still working. They provide free on-site child care, transportation assistance, and life coaching. So in addition to the education. And there's been all kinds of research done on it because it's been going on for several years now. And they have proven that it's a pathway to higher wages, better jobs, and job security, which offers adults a chance to not only improve their lives, but be contributors to their community. So I thought I would just go online and see if I could hear some testimonials from some of the students. And they were really powerful, but one really caught my eye. And his name is Michael Jeffrey. Michael Jeffrey tells the story of how during COVID he lost his job working in a Waffle House. So he was without a job and without a home. He became homeless and lived in a tent under a bridge for that entire time of COVID. And then, I imagine there was a lot of prayer going on his part because he wanted to better his life. He found out about an Excel school. He signed up. He graduated valedictorian and gave a speech. Does Dan have his picture up there? Yeah, gave a speech to his fellow students, which I encourage you to go online and listen. Imagine someone who is down and out, no income, in for however long, in the cold, in the heat, in a tent for a period of time, and yet was inspired enough and had courage enough to go to school. What is that impulse within us, within Michael, within all of us, that wants to improve our lives, that wants to not only improve our lives, but he actually got a scholarship to law school. Wow. So he's going to go on to law school and then contribute to society. So powerful. It all begins with an idea, right? An idea, an inspiration that then goes on to support the unfolding of people's lives. So many have been touched by this. So I'd like to end with a spiritual mind treatment, one of the beautiful forms of prayer that we use that remind us of who we are and whose we are. So as we turn within, I'm acknowledging the one presence, the one life, the one power, the one source that animates all life and therefore is the animating presence within me. That is the flow of inspiration that moves me into alignment with its truth. I know that I am that life of God in expression, and so is each and every person in this room and beyond. I am landing on the solid air of spiritual principle and truth. The truth of oneness, the truth of wholeness, the truth of the creative nature of my being and everyone here today. I am sticking the landing on this truth. And I am knowing that these beautiful principles of oneness and wholeness and of the creative nature of thought carry us not only in this moment, but carry us all forward in our lives as possibilitarians, as beings open to the flow of infinite possibility and infinite potentiality, of being those who demonstrate what it means to be a divine being through our love, through our centeredness in peace, through the harmony with which we interact with one another, and through the ways in which we reach out and touch those beyond our spiritual community, such as in this beautiful Salvation Army opportunity to bring joy to the lives of children whose parents don't have the ways and means to assure they have a bright Christmas. So it is with a heart full of gratitude that I accept the fulfillment of this word, the manifestation of good and more good in our lives. And I release this word to the action of universal law, which is the law of God, the all-powerful